Resume recording, going live. All right, Shinno, we are live.
Perfect.
Let me get you up on screen. Fantastic, mate. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks, mate. As I said, very, very hectic afternoon. I literally got your link as I was just pulling up in the drive. I'm still pouring my beer, as you can see.
I've not even managed to crack mine, although I have had a can while I was getting set up. Oh, you've gone some Dayton. So, mate, let's not stuff around because I'm thirsty.
Me too.
You just tell me there. What are you drinking while I get mine?
Mate, I'm still satisfying my Dayton fetish at the moment.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, I love these beers. I'm a big fan. This one here, I've not tried yet. It's called the Cherrywood. It's a smoked rye Baltic porter, sitting at a lazy 8.8%. So yeah, looking forward to trying that one.
You are so right about Dayton, though, because I've had a couple of their fruitier beers recently. Was it the Bounty Hunter, which is their choc coconut stout, which actually had the right amount of coconut in it.
Yep.
So I had what's the one from Bustleton? They've got one, a choc coconut porter, Rocky
Ridge, yep.
I'm sorry, guys, but I think you threw the coconut in at the door. You missed. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. So great. So you're drinking the Dayton again. We should have a Dayton episode where we both.
We'll have a Dayton date.
A Dayton date where we try a few of them. They have got some cracking beers. So I've gone the Beer Farm.
Yes. Oh, what's that?
Flake it till you bake it. Which is a baker's cream ale, a cream ale inspired beer with apple, which I like. So fruit, mate. I'm getting my fruit in. Cinnamon, allspice, vanilla, and brown sugar. So,
cheers to you, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Here's to a long week that it's been. Thank God it's Tuesday.
We've just got Simon Poley on there. Simon says,
and he's had the Bounty Hunter too. Yes. And
he agrees with the coconut.
Good to see you, Simon. Yeah, look, the Rocky Ridge was tasty, but calling it a chopped coconut porter wasn't too good. Now, at the risk of making myself miss out on the bottle shop, Cheeky Monkey have announced a nice oatmeal stout that's coming out. Should be at the bottle shop by the end of the week.
I saw that.
Getting my mix.
Someone mentioned that. It might have been on our little beer chat the other day.
Yeah, but very new. And the other one that comes out tomorrow, and I hope I can get some, and I feel like I need to be popping to the bottle shop every day at this point, the Dirty Biggie, which is the Biggie juice that's been aged in oak.
Yeah.
So, anyway, if anyone would like to support Shinno and my GoFundMe page to keep our beer drinking habits going, we'll put the link up at the end of the show. So,
shall we just say, mate, a bit of a running sheet for tonight? I mean, it'll be some of the usual suspects tonight, but we will be touching on later on in the show. Obviously, there's a bit of a follow-up to our episode last week around adoption, which we had some wonderful feedback on.
Yeah, it was great.
But I received a wonderful message, and quite heartfelt message from someone the other evening, and they'd like me to share it a little bit later in the episode. Unfortunately, they weren't able to join us tonight because they work shift work and so on. So I'm sharing it on there.
Oh, that's great. So, well, look, before we get to that, should we talk about what gets you goat? What's getting you goat this week, Shinno?
What gets my goat this week? Oh. You know what? I'm finding what's getting my goat and wanker of the week is almost, to me, I'm almost determining that they're almost interjoined, you know, some of these things. But sometimes it's just the little things that really get my goat, you know. So that's what I'm focusing on, just the little things every day. And passive aggressive behaviour gets my goat. And an example of this, which I witnessed the other day, and it's little things. It's the little things like someone going to put, and it's nothing that's happening in my household. Let me say this. So this is outside of my household.
Good that you've qualified that.
Yes, very important. I did so. Where people even put the lid back onto a jar overly tight, like as tight as they can.
Yeah.
Have you ever come across that type of thing?
No, I'm assuming you mean in like the workplace kitchen and stuff. But I tend not to eat any of the communal food. Well, certainly not the Vegemite jar or whatever. But I take your point. It's like it just needs to be closed.
It needs to be closed and screwed on with probably half a rotation. You know, where this person has gone to every effort to cross thread this thing. And, you know, to make it extremely difficult for the next person who wants to use it to actually get in.
That is pretty good. One of the things that I find funny is, and this is more an observation just about office life, but we have meetings regularly and people bring in morning tea, and most people will be very reluctant to eat too much at morning tea during the meeting. So you might have a party pie, or you might have a piece of the cake.
Well, I think the thing is, everyone wants to eat, but no one wants to eat.
And
they seem to be eating in front of
others.
I
want another piece or whatever, but I don't want to sit here and look like a guts, right? But then it goes, into the kitchen area and is descended upon. Right, and people will grab stuff and take it back to their desks and eat where they're not being watched. But then, of course, the last piece will sit there. So the time of the meeting is 10. The meeting finishes at, say, 11, and, say, 10% of the food has been eaten. Between 11 and 12:30, the other 80%, 85% has been eaten. But this meagre 5% will last until the end of the day, because nobody wants to be the guts that took the last piece.
No.
Nobody wants to go, oh, look at you, greedy bastard, pinching the last piece. So that piece can last forever if you left it there. It's got to be thrown.
You just leave it there.
Yeah. Nobody will eat it.
Isn't that funny that the psychology behind human behaviour?
In the office, yes.
Eating in the office environment.
Yeah. No, I think it's a big one. But going back to what gets my goat is a little bit of. I took a little holiday last week, or Tracy and I took a little holiday last week. Took the whole week off.
Yeah.
Was very busy, so I ended up working Monday. Tidied up a bit of stuff on Tuesday. Away we went on Wednesday. Now I was gone literally 3 days. I get back, and by Monday afternoon, I don't feel like I've had a holiday at all. It's just like busier than ever. It's just crazy. And that's the bit that gets my goat. It's like you need almost these people people need to go, you're back. You get almost a free pass for your first week while you retrain, while you get back in the mode. And so, what gets my goat is actually having to come back to work from a holiday that wasn't nearly long enough. So I know that's very, very selfish. Simon's made a good one. Richmond Football Club are complaining that they have to play outside Victoria. That would get my goat a bit. I find that the football's getting stranger and stranger as we speak, because
look, I think, as you said, we're going to have to do an episode on the footy coming up in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and well, there's
plenty to talk about.
There is plenty to talk about, and it's strange, and we could well see the majority of the season played outside of Victoria at this rate, and I would think some teams would be surely looking at arrangements sooner rather than later. I would think to head up to the Gold Coast and in quarantine, or head to Canberra, or even, well, I don't know about Tasmania, but or even WA. I know Collingwood and Geelong are coming, but I wonder if we'll see more. So that'll be interesting. So
what do you think, Bish? Maybe they acted a little bit late. Maybe the AFL early in the piece should have said, okay, let's take all the teams over to Rottnest Island, and we'll self-quarantine over there for 14 days. We'll build an oval and we'll hold the competition here.
It's interesting, because I think there was a period not so long ago that I think that they felt that they'd probably got through the worst of it, that getting going again was the hard part.
Now they're realising that was only the start of it.
Well, yeah, and certainly, initially I thought WA's hard border was going to be a problem for West Coast, in as much as they might have to stay in Queensland for longer. But now it looks like the problem for West Coast will be, how will they play any of their Melbourne games? Because I can't see them being able to go to Melbourne unless they have to relocate into Melbourne for 6 weeks, or something stupid. But Matty's got the right idea. AFL Lightning Carnival. You could, you could run the games almost 7 days a week, almost. Rolling through. Obviously, you'd have to structure it. No,
well, you could. They could have played like 2 20-minute halves. They could have packed their own lunches, and they could have sat around the oval and watched the other teams play.
Yes. Like you did.
Cheered them on.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
All in the spirit of things.
Yeah. No, I think that would be fantastic. But no, it's interesting times. I'm amazed at the idea that we will be actually having crowds at footy at the old abandoned stadium again this year. Whereas, again, 4 weeks ago, I would have said, well, that's still a long way off. So it's funny how quick some things have come back, but also, some things I think are going to take a little longer. So I don't know. But Victoria are in a pile of hurt. So it's who knows. Now, I don't know whether to bring. Actually, I won't bring it up till after Wanker of the Week. I've got another little story that I want to share. But have you got a nomination for Wanker of the Week at all?
Look, we do, and this one came through on our Instagram.
Oh, okay.
From, I don't know if you saw it.
No.
Is it?
I'm useless with Instagram. MySpace is my thing, that.
Hang on, let me just see if I can get back in. MySpace is your space, mate. Let's see if Hell Elizabeth, Hell Elizabeth.
Yeah, I do know Helen. Yep. Hello, Helen.
Yes. So Helen actually sent through, which was really funny because I was actually just reading the same article moments before she sent this through, and it just galvanised what I was thinking already. But Wank of the Week, I don't know if you read it about the some of the concerned residents in the Claremont area regarding the skate park.
Yep, mate. I'm declaring him the winner right now. But carry on.
Can I read this little excerpt?
Please,
because
please.
This was actually the letter drop. I don't know if
Oh,
you saw
no, I've seen the article. It was on the...
No, this is actually the original letter drop, which was actually pinned by a Claremont resident and dropped around in all the newsletters. News box. So here we go. Mate. First bit, sort of a subheading here, how smart are we? The recent 2016 census confirms an above average 54% of Cottesloe residents, in brackets, the majority of the population, have achieved a degree, a doctorate or a higher education. It should be of no surprise that the two close by suburbs of Fremantle and Scarborough, touted in the independent report as having skate parks, have a much lower 24% and 33%, respectively, degree higher education. While there will be a Cottesloe minority who will initially think that a skate park is a great idea, don't be fooled. Skate parks are very dangerous. So, and then the next subject, are you killing yourself?
He's drawing a correlation that there is a lower level of degrees due to the fact that the kids, instead of studying in say, these neighbouring suburbs, off skating and therefore neglecting their studies. Is that what?
Well, I think that's part of it. I think the other part is they're saying that the people who are proposing the idea of the skate park are obviously of a lower intelligence and maybe ill-equipped to be able to make such a decision.
Right, carry on.
So the next subheading is how smart are Perth's best schools? Cottesloe is surrounded by the majority of Perth's most prestigious schools, Bish, Scotch, Christchurch, PLC, MLC, St Hilda's and Iona, which most residents proudly send their children to and are charged to provide the best and safest educational environment for our children. These well thought out and professionally planned schools have also built some of the most outstanding sporting and safest activity facilities in Australia, as you would expect. What is a fact is that none of these schools have or ever will build a skate park. So why is Cottesloe considering building one? Next subheading, I'll get through this quickly.
I'm loving this.
How dumb are some? WA hospital records show that severe personal injuries do occur at skate parks, including broken hands, arms, ribs, fractured cheeks and skulls, as well as brain concussions that could kill. Really, do we need to go further? I believe we do.
I think he is. I believe he is.
The council is also not funding any extra security and no police are permanently stationed at Cottesloe that can be quickly called. This is unlike Fremantle or Scarborough, who had permanent police. A history of emergency calls over the last 4 years by Grant Marine Park residents to police and council rangers regarding, and they've got such things as vagrants living or harassing residents in the park, people defecating in the park, paedophile activity, and in brackets, older men in cars approaching young boys in the park, antisocial behaviour, have all gone unreturned by council staff and only one call has been responded to, and then in brackets 3 hours later by police.
Has this
residents
made all these calls?
Well,
are these just the calls he has made about old men in cars and vagrants shitting in the park?
Quite possibly. So this is, and he finishes off here, the Independent Skate Park report says, a stated intent is to attract people from outside Cottesloe. This will largely include undesirables, they've written in brackets. And the report also states there is no way to control after dark noise or people issues. So it's all there. I'm going to take a photo of that. And
Can I ask? Yeah, please put it on the page. Has he signed it, or is it just concerned residents?
No. No signature.
Have the courage of your convictions, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Is he suggesting they build a wall around Cot?
Well, yeah, that may well be maybe his next letter.
Because, like, I don't want to sort of start anything, but has he noticed that there's a beach there that kids have been coming to for years because it's on the train line?
Yeah, and has he also noticed that, you know, when people go swimming out in the waves, out in Mother Nature, you know, you're going to have an unfortunate incident or accident from time to time that could well result in a broken wrist or arm or shoulder or a concussion.
Yeah. I had seen a thing on the Bell Tower Times that obviously there is some loud opposition to this skate park. And I just don't understand it, because, like, really, if it's not going to bother you, well, maybe it is, but one or two people can be very loud in an area like that, and it sounds like people are against it, and then all of a sudden people do fine, they get on board. No, clubhouse later. But my only real nomination, and this is very long-winded, and it's kind of a group of people. Now, I don't know if you saw, it was sort of shared around a bit, but Trump this week, and Trump is not my nomination, so let's not go outside of that, retweeted a video that had a bloke, Simon Nimby, that's the word for him.
I was about to say, we've got, who else we got joined us? We had Mark Sweet-Apple on. We had
top fan on board,
we've got
Simon.
Yeah, top fan, Simon.
And I still cannot work out how he did that, because...
So if Simon, I don't know, I think he's created his own, but that's fine.
Well, that's... No.
Kudos to Simon. But, what happens if Simon fails to tune in one week? Does he lose his title?
Well, we wouldn't want to find out, would we, Simon? You're committed now.
So he's checked in. Well done.
The sort of semi-nomination, although he'll never get over the top of Mr. Cottesloe there, but during the week, Trump got himself in a little bit of trouble for retweeting a video supposedly thanking his supporters in a place called The Villages in Florida. Now, but got himself in trouble because in the video, quite clearly in the very first bit, a guy is heard to yell "white power," and then Trump's had to delete the thing. I didn't see that, right? So, so it was a little bit of a mistake. But having watched the video, the hilarity of this is this area is apparently a bit of like a retirement village writ large in Florida, because everything's bigger than in America. But if you can imagine an estate a bit like the Vines, it's all on a golf course and that, where people live near the golf course. That's what these places are. And people go down there to retire and live on these golf courses and whatnot. But there's this kind of protest by the side of a road, and all these people are driving past celebrating, I don't know what, in their golf carts, right? And I urge people to watch the video, not for any of the political messages, but just to look at the way these American people, older people, all of them, clearly retired, clearly into golf, have pimped out their golf carts. There's some that look like limousines. There's some that look like...
Do you think is it a status thing?
I don't know, but I'm like, what kind of wanker do you have to be to pimp out a golf cart? So I'm losing the whole message of what's going on. Like I say, there's people on the side of the road protesting. There's people whizzing past in golf carts abusing them. Right. That's kind of almost enough for me. But then you've got these people pimped out golf carts. One looks like a mini moke. One's like... So I couldn't concentrate on anything else. What am I supposed to be watching here? I'm just looking at all these golf carts. It's hilarious. Like,
you couldn't focus.
Who has got not the money, but who's got the why? Why would you do it? You're putting your clubs on the back and you're going and having a swing or whatever. And
yeah, what's your focus here?
So I'm going to post the link afterwards. I'll share it. It has been tweeted, deleted from Trump speed, but it is still around. Like everything, nothing ever disappears from the internet. There is a political element to it, as I say, but the real wanker, in my opinion, is the guy who turns around and says, you know what, I'm going to turn this golf cart into something it's not. And that to me, having said that, Mr. Cottesloe, unless someone's got something really good that they're going to nominate, it's going to take some beating. That's...
yeah. Well, I think, as always, let's leave that open.
Always.
I mean, as always, I just love the nomination process itself, because they're all deserving winners, let's face it.
Oh, let's face it, getting mentioned, and there are people who would clearly regard it as a little bit of an honour to be nominated. So getting a nomination should be considered as good as winning it. It's like, well, I'm now amongst that rarefied company. I'm amongst a handful of wankers. And so that's...
It's like getting picked in a squad, but maybe not making the final turn.
Oh, exactly right. Exactly right. And a bit like, say, the All-Australian squad, the beauty is you'll never be called upon to play for the country. So.
No, and it's really just about naming rights, because you're going to end up faking an injury so you don't have to attend anyway. Because
if you don't want to go,
you've got other more.
If you don't want to go and play the Gaelic football game, you can just pretend you're going for surgery or something. That's and right. Anybody can be named captain as long as they're not an actual captain. Same for wingmen. Sean, hello. Hi, folks. Welcome aboard, mate. Good to see you. Okay, Shinno, you've promised, you've teased us with it. You've had a story from a viewer.
Look, I did. We had obviously our episode last week was largely all around sharing our sort of adoption stories and talking about adoption, and we encouraged some others to come forward and share some stories with us. And
still welcome to share, by the way. If anyone would, we're still open to discussing that further. So yes.
No, most definitely. So please do. I had a number of people reach out to us and say, look, thanks for sort of conducting that episode we did last week, and a few people shared a few little things with me, not relating directly to them, so they didn't feel it necessary to share on the show. But I had a really lovely message from Shannon Dale. Shannon's very well known and respected through the Ultra Series family. So obviously Shannon and his lovely wife Darlene and the kids. And Shannon volunteers a lot, does a lot of the photography for the events and so on. Shannon reached out to me with a message, basically stating, I'll read it from here. So he's got, hey mate, I'm unable to talk or watch the show live, but always listen to it later when I'm in the truck. I was just wanting to put out another side with the adoption story. I was born in New Zealand, and at the age of 2 months was put into a foster care. So my mother could move to England with a new partner that didn't want me. I was fostered around, and at the age of 5, a family wanted to adopt me after doing all the paperwork. My birth mother was contacted and decided that herself and her new husband would adopt me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So by the age of 10, I was sent off to boarding schools and was constantly told taking me back was the worst decision of their life. At the age of 14, after being beaten badly, again, I was being put back into the state care until I got a job at the age of 15 and started my life whilst also completing my education by correspondence. I grew up so confused and angry with the world. I've never met my birth father, but the older I get, the more I wonder what the fear, but the fear of rejection if I was to find him.
Mm.
What I've been through in my life has made me who I am today, so I can handle that. What hurts the most is now that foster family found me and I've found out the pain they went through having me taken away when they were very good people and wanted me in their life. He's got, until I met Sean and the crew at Ultra Series WA, he found it really hard to hug or obviously get close to people until he met his beautiful partner Darlene and obviously the 6 boys. All I want to put out is not all adoption stories are great stories, but I'm so happy to hear how awesome our stories are and other people's are. So look, thanks a whole bunch for sharing that, Shannon. I know that comes from the heart, mate. And that only, as I sent back to you in a message yesterday, only serves to, in my mind, and I'm sure everyone else out there too, have an enormous amount of admiration for you. You certainly had a difficult road, but I'll tell you what, you're a much loved person throughout the community. I know everyone will testify to that. So,
I really appreciate that being shared. That's as you say, it's the absolute other side of the coin. Now, very positive stories. Yeah, and I guess so many fork in the road type moments there. So
many reasons there. Yeah, you know, and it's people like you, Shannon, and stories like that which can go a long way to helping other people in their journeys, I think, because I'll tell you what, there's a lot there for sort of people to take in. I can't begin to imagine what it would have been like just reading that short transcript which you sent me, but living it right through, and not only living it, but obviously even today, you know, those things never leave you. It becomes a part of who you are, for better or for worse. But yeah, you know, very difficult times for a lot of people, particularly back in the early stages of adoption, where, you know, there were no real fixed, hard and fast rules, and no one really contemplated the emotional well-being of the child.
Oh no, I don't think so. And yeah, secondary consideration there, and I mean, you've shared. I knew you were going to share a story, but that's.
You look a little bit unsettled and shocked.
Oh, it is a little shaking.
I was sitting next to Sam on the couch when it came through, and I actually got a little bit emotional when it came through.
Yeah. So
Sam could state. She said, "What's wrong?" I said, I just got this message from Shannon, and I spent quite a bit of time reading through it, digesting it before I could respond. Yeah, absolutely. It really resonated as to what could have very easily been. And I shared with Shannon, you know, I don't have, obviously my story is far from similar to Shannon's, but we did have foster children come in and out of our home as well growing up. And I do understand that side of the story where we did grow very close to those foster children, and to have them removed was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
For our family.
Yeah, no, that's well, I can only thank you for sharing it, Shannon, and congratulate you for overcoming that. And obviously with 6 boys, you've made up for the lack of love there by creating a whole house full of it. So yeah, no, very positive for the future. So yeah, thank you. And as I say, I'm interested to hear other people's stories. I think it's a little bit cathartic for people to probably share them, to I guess not carry the burden alone. So yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's that's pretty good. So
and what about you, Bish? Did you hear from anyone else during the week?
No, like I said, because I went away to somewhere without any phone or internet,
Yeah.
I literally dropped off the map, which I've got to say is kind of strange. The first day you go, great, the phone's not ringing, there's no emails or whatever. By the time you've read both the books you took and all the rest of it, and you're going, oh, wouldn't mind looking at a bit of Facebook or playing some games online or something. So you start to realise how day to day it is, or even you think about something, and I'll often think about something and go, oh, I want to Google that to find out if that's true or what the story is with that. And I mean, that's, oh, I wonder what that is. Or, like something will happen in a book or reading a book and you go, I wonder what really happens. And you'll get on your phone and Google it straight away or something. And to not have that at your fingertips after coming to take it for granted. And I realise it's only been a thing for, well, probably less than 10 years, isn't it? But I almost can't seem to remember what we did before literally having the internet in our pockets,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm going to go back 20 years and yes, we had the internet on fairly slow dial-up connections and so forth. And within that time, we now have a situation where if we wonder about something or we remember something suddenly but want to find out more about it, we pick up our phone and find the information.
We can.
Yeah, and so it's amazing when you go back in time almost for a few days and don't have that, how you realise how much you take it for granted. So in a nutshell, no, I didn't really hear from anybody. Other than sort of
Did you make your way to any little breweries down there, mate?
Mate, this is an interesting thing. There is a brewery in Pemberton, which we did go to 4 years ago or so when we were down there before, maybe longer, 5 years, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And that wasn't at that stage, for whatever reason, brewing their own beer. But there are some wineries there, and there are some breweries, or a brewery. But the brewery was closed, as were all the wineries due to COVID. So it's a little bit of an interesting thing there. I don't know. It certainly doesn't have that same feel as, say, Margaret River and Dunsborough has, where there's literally so many.
It's less touristy, isn't it?
It is well and truly less touristy, and realistically, the trees are amazing, but once you've seen
one,
you've kind of seen them all. Yeah, exactly. So, so it's interesting. I don't think the wineries obviously rely a lot on their cellar door sales because the tourists don't come. But I don't think the tourists come because there's not much of a cellar door trail like there is in Margaret River. So I don't know how that'll change from a touristy point of view. I don't.
Yeah.
So,
or whether they indeed want to attract tourists. They might be happy in their own little pocket down there.
There's a lot of accommodation down there, though. So I would suspect people want to attract tourists, but the trick is just having accommodation.
They do truffles. Truffles are a big thing down there, aren't they?
Yeah, around there, Manjimup and Pemberton, and look, it's a really, really, really nice part of the world. No ifs, buts, or maybes, but it is one of those things where you go, well, if it's going to be a tourist centre, it's going to need things for people to do. And I'm sure plenty of people go down there strictly for the natural beauty.
Yeah. Well, as you said, not everyone wants to climb a big tree.
No, I'm happy to look at a few, but I'll also like a decent cup of coffee and a nice beer.
Or run on the trails.
Well, not doing that.
Not that either.
So perhaps I'm very much speaking from my own point of view here. So I can't quite. I can't quite probably.
So You were going to share another little story with us. You said after Wanker of the Week.
Oh no, it was more about the golf carts.
Oh, okay.
That was more about because I didn't quite know whether it was Wanker of the Week.
You didn't know where to fit it in. You just wanted to tell us.
It's just when I was watching it, I thought it was ridiculous. So
you've got to fit this in somewhere. People need to know.
Oh, you just sometimes see things that are so strange.
Yeah.
And you just go, what?
But you almost want validation, don't you? You want to ask others, am I the only person who thinks this is odd?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think that's part of the whole internet thing now.
Mm.
You want to watch these things with people. You want to go, have a look at this. This is crazy. It might be a cat, frightening itself or chasing a dog or something like that.
Mm.
Or people driving strange looking golf carts or all sorts of things. And I think that's the nature of why we love the internet, because we all want to go, hey, have a look at this. And it doesn't work the same way getting a book and going, I'll read this line, it's incredibly funny. Or because there's so that's that was more what that was about. So conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Go on. Have you got anything?
Well, look, I don't. But it was something that came to my mind again the other week, and I don't think we were doing conspiracy theories that week, but it came back to me again this week. All that talk. Remember, and you would remember this growing up. It was huge about the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
So what's happened to that? Is it still there?
Well,
because this was the biggest conspiracy theory in the world for for decades.
No,
but now no one talks about it anymore.
I think what's happened, right? I reckon it's the second.
You know what I think's happened? I think the whole conspiracy of the Bermuda Triangle got lost in the Bermuda Triangle.
That could be it. But the whole thing, I think, is Bermuda Triangle was almost that second cousin to a conspiracy theory, the urban legend.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I've been thinking a little bit about this, and it's not necessarily what I wanted to bring up tonight, but remember when you were a kid and it was kind of like the campfire story a little bit, or someone would go, and I heard my mum tell my dad once, this woman at work's cousin was driving home from work one night and this guy followed her on high beam all night, and she's panicking, right? And she's going, what's going on? And she drives home and she pulls into her driveway and she goes to get out of her car thinking, this guy's still behind me on high beam.
Mm.
And she gets out of the car and starts to run from the house. And the guy says, no, wait, it's okay. I'm not trying to hurt you. I was following you on high beam because I saw a guy get in the back of your car and he's in the back with an axe, right? And I heard this story and I'm horrified. And then a few years later, you hear it from someone else, except it's their sister's cousin. And it's always someone you're never likely to meet. But these stories just
keep circulating each generation.
Urban myths or urban legends. And I think, Sim, well done. That's why you're a top fan. He has shared right there the golf cart parade. That's now I know why he's a top fan. He's right up there with Jeff Hansen for delivering the
I've got to say, I think Jeff's dropped the ball this week.
Well, I know, but Sim stepped right up. So, Rabbit, where are you, Reporter Rabbit? But we need a little nickname for Sim. Sim the ace reporter. Jimmy Olsen. So I wonder if the Bermuda Triangle sort of fell into that urban myth, urban legend type thing rather than a full-blown conspiracy, and we just...
Simon Poley's also there's a good running festival there. I'm assuming he's talking about Pemberton and not the Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Running Festival.
Never to return.
Well, you might get lost.
Well, Felix would be right at home at the Bermuda Triangle running
I've heard
festival.
his navigation skills are not...
no. But he wouldn't be alone out there. I mean, it wouldn't really matter whether he could find his way or not because you're not coming home.
No, exactly right. So, I don't know what happened to the Bermuda Triangle, but maybe science.
No, unusual.
But
we've got Tammy Noden has just joined us. Tammy, you're part of the notorious Kalgoorlie runners as well. I know
here we go. We're going
Cal and Sheila. Yes. Also up at Geraldton.
Beautiful.
Hi, Tammy.
I did want to mention, and I posted it on the page earlier, an infographic, and I'll just bring it up on my phone, which literally shows a connection or a summary of just about every single conspiracy theory. So, and I can't quite work it out. So I'd like to sort of have people have a look at it. And I'm not sure if it's a flow chart or whatever, but it has a go at the 5G thing. Obviously, Bill and Melinda Gates, the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the UN, Monsanto, Big Agra, War Generation, the Nazis, baby boomers, cellular and Wi-Fi, ADHD, autism, Bluetooth. Microsoft are apparently in on all this. 4G, Wuhan 3G pilot. There's a lot of mentions of Wuhan in this, I've got to tell you. A place I would have to say I hadn't heard of a year ago.
No. Do you reckon, in the long run, it's going to bolster their tourism?
Wuhan's? No. I
wouldn't have thought so.
I wouldn't have thought so. Tesla get a mention? So anyone, I tell you what, anyone who can work this out for me and give me a rough idea of what he thinks people are driving at on it, or what they think people are driving at on it, and maybe one of our top fans or our top fan could perhaps try and give us a bit of a Henry Kissinger, Rockefeller medicine, naturopathy destroyed. Yeah, well, that's because it doesn't bloody work. Chlorine gas is greater than chemotherapy. So whether people have just thrown something at a sheet, or this is just like a bingo card, perhaps, like a, when you hear someone mention this, cross it off your list. Maybe that's it. So World Economic Forum, pre-weakened immune system, vaccine additives, of course, that's a ripper. But I just don't know. I might be right. Look at Chernobyl. Is Chernobyl on this list, Sim? Medical Ponzi, timeline distortions. Oh my God. Novel bio AI weapon. So anyway, I don't know whether they're pretty much saying it all comes together, but I don't know how you can join it all, but I'm looking at it more as a bingo sheet. When people mention this.
Yeah, I know. I saw the same thing, and I thought that just was like a dog brick. I'm not even going to try and decipher what it.
I've tried, but
because I think at the end of the day, even if it made a semblance of sense, it's not really going to make a semblance of sense.
No, and that is the beauty of conspiracy theories. There, tourist hotspots. Oh yes, Chernobyl, Bermuda. That'd be the great tour. I would like to visit Chernobyl. I think that would be a tourist hotspots. Let me tell you, it would. I think just one of those places that would give me a warm glow. So perhaps you could do the double. You could do the Wuhan trip and then hop on the Trans-Siberian Railway. And
do you think you'd have a warm glow because of all the radioactivity you might be transmitting through your cells, through your cellular structure?
I think that's absolutely true. Yes, you would have a warm glow. But it would be interesting. You might get to see a 3-headed deer or something. Felix is 100% right there. The Bermuda Triangle has dropped off for the same reasons that the urban legends have gone. You're definitely you can verify whether they're true, but we then still get all these stories.
Hey, but actually, should we have a whip around to everybody who's out there watching? Because I know you guys all enjoy your beers. And obviously, we've got top fan Simon, we've got Simon Polly, Felix.
We could put on there what beer you're drinking, folks.
Dawn, let me know what beers you guys are drinking. Take a pic of. You better be drinking beer, you chaps. I don't want to see anyone out there drinking milk.
Unless it's a milk stout.
Correct. So we'll give them a fair and equal opportunity to get a picture up, Bish, and then we'll have to rate our beers.
We will, and yes. So the conspiracy front is on as ever, but now not so much. This is Wanker of the Week, conspiracy theory, etc. I believe, and this is a little bit secondhand, I've heard it reported, our mate Sam Newman has a podcast. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this. With Mike Sheehan, who I have a bit of respect for. I think he's an excellent journalist. And Don Scott, who you will remember as the Hawthorn ruckman and the man who largely saved Hawthorn from merging with Melbourne. So they have a podcast together. Now, on this podcast this week, and clearly a bit of a Wanker of the Week nomination if he wasn't already a Hall of Famer, Sam Newman has brought up the idea that we all recall the great Nicky Winmar photo, and there is the statue down at the old abandoned stadium of Nick raising his jumper and allegedly, saying, quotable, "I'm black and I'm proud." Now, Sam Newman, for reasons known only to himself, has alleged that Nicky Winmar never said that.
Right. And
I'm like, and what are we talking? Is it 25 years ago?
Yeah.
Possibly longer?
Yeah. I would have been probably 13, I reckon. Oh. So, 20 more.
More. No.
No, 20. Yeah, 20.
No, in the AFL era, it would have been in the 90s.
Yeah.
So maybe 30 years ago. So 27. Yeah. Anyway, he's, for whatever reason, chosen to bring up that what he is reported to have said at the time, by independent sources, by the way, is, and so I'm saying that's, I don't know whether there's a conspiracy there to discredit that or whatever else, but that could have been a wanker of the week had Mr. Cottesloe not put in such a fine effort. Sim's got a Pils from Quarrama Brewing Company. Now, Simon, have you tried the Quarrama Brewing Company's, it was 1993. That's why he's a top fan. He's just on there. And we're stuffed if he drops his phone in the spa, aren't we?
Well,
I'm wondering if you've tried the chocolate porter from Quarrama Brewing Company. I have not yet, but it's on my list of beers to try when I get through the others. I can't even pronounce what Simon's drinking. Can you have a go at that? Sure.
really? Just bring it back up again. I had it there a second ago. It's just disappeared.
TX Oco Stout.
Yeah.
Is he? I hope it's easier to drink than it is to say.
Well, they're just going to call it toxic.
Toxic stout. Toxic stout.
Toxic stout.
Choco stout. Oh, so it's not. Oh, didn't you see? Oh yeah, I did actually, Sim. Sorry, mate. It was a week ago.
We've got the Simons ganging up on us now.
I know. I feel we've given them a little bit of latitude.
We've got Simons coming from Italy.
And now we're being rained on by.
We've got the two-pronged Simon attack.
It is. It's a flank attack. New brewery in Swan Valley, Spanish name. Well, there you go. They're everywhere. A new brewery in Swan Valley. That's good. Well, Matty Trent will have to get out there and perhaps give us a report. Not Spanish. Right. Oh, it's not a Spanish brewery, just a Spanish name. I'm guessing from that. Is that what you're reading from that? Right.
Yes.
You'll be stabbed. Oh, okay.
Well, shall we rate our beers?
We should rate our beers, and what would you?
You want to go first?
Okay. Yeah. I liked this. However, I felt the apple overrode most of the other tastes. So it had that acidity from the apple, whereas I was hoping for a bit more of the creaminess of like an oat apple.
Yeah.
I wanted more of the pie and less of the apple, but
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I'll come back to that. So look, pretty good, but I'm only going to go 3 out of 5 because I don't think it was as creamy as it said in the can. I don't think it did what it said on the box. So I'll go a 3 on that one.
Okay. No, fair call. I'm it took me a little while, I must say, to warm up with this one because the smoked rye tones in it.
Yes.
I'd not really experienced anything like that before. But I've got to say, I really warmed to it as I drank through. So I'm going to give that one. Had you asked me probably the first half of the can, I probably would have been floating around the 3. I think I'm going to give that a 4 in the end because, as I said, once I developed a taste for it, I suppose, then I really found it quite enjoyable. I think it was just because in the initial stages, it's nothing quite like I'd had before. But I certainly appreciate what they've done there. So really unusual beer for mine, but something I really ended up enjoying. So I'm going to go 4 with that one.
Excellent. No, 4 for that, a 3 for mine. Excellent. Don't forget you can rate your beers at any time on our page if you want to submit a rating. We'd like to build a database of those ratings.
And Bish, should we talk a little bit more? Because as we said, we should almost come up with a date, I think, coming up soon, because once the restrictions lift again, we're going to want to get together, and we'd love to get everyone together. We'd love to have our top fan, Simon, there. We'd love to have all the Simons there. We'd love to have Felix and Tammy and Mark, Sweet Apple and Matty Trent and Brian. Where's Brian tonight?
Well, maybe the family dinner.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. So, no, right. So I would
because
say
I think we're going to speak to Matty Trent, weren't we, about sort of taking over his premises up there.
we were.
Be lovely on a lovely sunny afternoon and take a few beers.
I think that could be the go. So yeah, we'll have to set a date for that. And
we can send out invites.
We could.
We'll do that. We'll make it an official Bish and the Beard get together.
I don't think it's far off, because I think getting together with people is getting closer.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to, just on another thing, just in relation to that. Have you got any trouble at all keeping up with what you're supposed to be doing and allowed to be doing now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that's not just me. It's like
yes, would be my answer to that.
It's like working out the Kit Kat strike rate. You're going.
I've almost just. I think I'm finding it difficult to keep up with it because I'm not wanting to keep up with it.
I get that, but I'm like, they go, great. Now you can go to the pub and stand and have a beer. And you go, all right, well, that's great, but not till next Sunday. And going, walking in.
Yeah. Well, now you can go to the pub, stand on one leg, have a beer, but you can only order a mid-strength.
Yes.
And
full strength.
And you can only have it in a glass without a handle.
Yes. It's just like they're clearly stepping out where they're going, and fantastic news that things are going so well. But I cannot keep up with what I'm allowed to do at various points in time. It's just
But you know, I struggle with that in life as a general rule at times.
Oh yeah, but generally things don't change as quickly, I suppose. And believe me, you could walk into a place and they say, "Oh, you got to do this," and I'd say, "Why?" And they'd say, "COVID." And so they could be telling me just about anything.
Yeah, well, you could you? Actually, you could have a whole lot of fun with people in the workplace, couldn't you?
Yes.
You know, where you could have visitors come in, you'd say, "Oh, look, do you mind removing your pants when you come in?"
We haven't.
And they'll say, well, "Why? Oh, COVID. COVID restrictions."
It's the absolute. Yeah. Do you mind emptying your wallet right there?
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's very true. I think we've degenerated. Well,
sufficiently
more so than usual. So fantastic to have everyone with us. We're going to end the live video now. So thank you for joining us, everyone. It was a great night. Thank you for all your feedback.
And thanks again to Shannon for his courage in sharing
absolutely.
doing that.
Cannot thank you enough for that, Shannon, and I look forward to
wonderful insight into his upbringing too. So which no doubt, hopefully, will help a lot of people. And sometimes, as difficult as it is to share such things, you know, as I said to Shannon the other day, it can be enormously empowering as well. So
absolutely, no, appreciate that, and thank you for trusting us with it. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you again next Tuesday at 7:00. Thanks, Shinno.
Thanks, mate. We'll catch you soon.
We will see you soon.
Okay. See you, mate.
See you, mate.